Welcome to Modern Homestead Alaska. We are Erin and Jessica Milnes. We are building a modern homestead outside of Wasilla, Alaska, with the help of 3 of our children. Our second son, Caleb, our daughter, Cody Ann, and the youngest of our family, Wyatt, along with our 3 dogs, Tipper and Daisy, and the newest addition, Roberto. So the first thing I'm going to do, and then give you the tour, is I am feeding soluble seaweed powder. This is probably one of the most dangerous things I think that we can do, because 1 teaspoon of this goes into a gallon of water. You can dilute it beyond that, which I have done. 5 gallons for 1 teaspoon, but 1 teaspoon is enough to actually feed an entire acre of land. So 1 teaspoon, 5 gallons, it can be fed weekly or bi-weekly. The thing I've struggled with my garden is it has rained every day. So getting food and nutrients onto the plants and into the earth, we have to wait until there's a day with no rain. It's not supposed to rain today, and it's not supposed to rain tomorrow. And so I'm going to feed today in hopes that by Monday it's calling for rain again. But what is happening is it's just depleting the nutrients in the ground. You can see that right there with the celery. The centers are starting to yellow up a bit. The rest of it is looking really, really good. So we're going to feed today because we can, and then I'm going to show you something with the root vegetables that is a beautiful sign and why I think the garden is doing so well. So let's get to feeding first. What I've done is dissolve 1 teaspoon into this 5-gallon bucket. I've then transferred it into this sprayer, and then we're going to go along and lightly mist all of the plants with this seaweed, and then I'll be right back. So this is some exciting news. Erin just started using it. Him and Caleb fixed it. One of our neighbors had under the snow load, their greenhouse collapsed, and they gave us this tiller. And it works really, really great. We're having so much issue with the grass and the straw, although it does keep the mud down. Erin is lightly turning the grass over so that I'm not growing grass, I'm growing fruits and vegetables out here. Birdo, ow. So we're gonna just till under the walkways so we can keep control of the grass. We don't want it getting deep rooted, because then we're gonna have an issue in the future. I don't know how well you can see it here, but Erin is probably only going 2 inches. What a no-till garden kind of you want to aim towards is never tilling anything below kind of the 4-inch mark. So 6 and 8 inches deep, that's where all those microbes and those good things are living, are down in the soil, and we're not trying to disturb any of that. We're just constantly trying to feed it and grow this soil in this garden bed. So what we're doing is just barely getting this straw turned over. And in fact, most of it stays up top. It stays very firm as far as something that I can walk on. And then we do treat it here in just a minute. All right, what happened?
Blue belt, blue tire.
Blue tire. All right, just a little pause. What was wrong with it?
What?
Oh, the string.
Caleb, no, I fixed the string and Caleb fixed the spark plug.
Nice. Where did you get that spark plug from?
No.
You already had one?
Caleb cleaned it.
Burn it off.
You just cleaned it? Nice.
Caleb. Oh, why? Looks like I need a wrench back there too. Just trying to loosen this thing up so I can get it back underneath there. Yeah, I need a wrench. I gotta get the back nut.
There's a back nut. This is our first rototiller experience ever. But the fact that it's free and so helpful, something if you're new, I did tell in the beginning, all of this is garden bed. Even the walkways are living pathways. And then what's gonna happen in the fall is all of it will get turned together. It'll get a cover crop planted on it. And then the garden can change. Like we can run rows, we can do beds a different direction, but the whole space is determined to be garden. So even the walkways have dirt and they've been fertilized, they have compost on them, and then we have to keep them covered because to have organic gardening, everything needs to have something living in it, decomposing in it, growing in it, all at the same time, simultaneously. So Aaron turned all this under. Now my choices are recover it, so I can cover it with something, or I can plant a cover crop in it, or I could do wood chips, I could do cardboard, because all those things would decompose into the garden. But what I won't do is like landscape fabric, because I'm not actually trying to kill even our walkways. I hope that makes some sense.
Welcome to the homestead, Cody. What do you think of the garden?
Beautiful. It's so pretty, isn't it? So big. Look at it. Would a radish make you feel happy? It's a tiller. We got it. Matt and Kinsey gave us that. Kinsey used it once. It came with their homestead. I think what's incredibly hard is cleanup. When it rains so much, I'm gonna do a full tour of everything once we get it cleaned up. But I heard a tree fall over here. So we're gonna go figure out what the heck is Aaron doing? Oh! What is Aaron doing? What are you doing?
Cut down these trees so I can make that area.
What are you making?
Whatever is in my wife's head.
I envision elderberry bushes and blueberries and raspberries and just wild bushes growing right alongside here. Okay, so this video has taken a turn from just garden cleanup to ADHD on the homestead as we jump into projects before we finish the others. Don't worry, you get a view in the end. weeded this strawberry bed. The strawberries are doing great. I don't know why the weeds are so horrific. This is exactly how we did the garden, and we do not have the breeds or the kinds of weeds that grew in here. So must have been under the ground, whatever. But I totally weeded this area. It looks so much better now. And my strawberries are huge in comparison to when we planted them. So the planters that Aaron is emptying at work, okay, there's these big planters along a parking garage. The water introduced causes the concrete to leak. Anyway, when it does, it drips and it leaks on vehicles and those sort of things. Here in Alaska, then it freezes. All the little cracks in the concrete freeze, the water gets in there, it pops apart the concrete, and the rebar expands about 10 times. Then it's called delaminated concrete. It then falls on vehicles. Anyway, they're emptying those planter boxes. So this is gravel with soil, which allows the water to flow a little more freely. And then the soil he's putting on top is just straight soil. One of the strangest things, I think, watching and learning more and more about the dirt work and how the garden came together and all of these different things is it looks like a disaster for a minute. And then all of a sudden, he's gonna come through here, he's gonna fill it out, and what you can see now is coming in our driveway, we put these giant boulders here to protect our wellhead. I then turned that into a strawberry bed. Beyond that, he took out, all the trees that he took out had dead tops, and we'll be able to push the snow that direction, which is great because I no longer have to go through the basement to get to the heater in the winter time. Off to the side here is where we're planting all these bushes in order to have kind of a living forest that is feeding us. So a food forest, if you will, is the goal here. So growing some plants that would feed the family as well as medicinal reasons. Let me show you. This I didn't pull out, although it keeps weeding its way into the right here. That is a wild rose. The wild rose produces rose hips. Rose hips are great in our elderberry syrup, helps with blood pressure, a lot of other good medicinal reasons to do rose hips. If you don't like the flavor of it, it's great because I just put it in, and because you're gonna cheesecloth strain out your elderberries, you can get all the seeds from the rose hip as well. So we let anything medicinal or beautiful, all these tall plants are actually the fireweed. You can make jelly from those. These are called high bush cranberries right here. You'll see a lot of people, you can make jellies out of it, but most people are gonna make like a ketchup out of that. The lupin is this purple flower that grows wild here everywhere. Now, I know that there's something, if you know what you can do with the lupin, leave it in the comment section. I don't really know, but I know that it has some value. We just let it grow. Look at, it's just everywhere. It's just beautiful. That's my thought and purpose in it. All in this same little chunk. So we have the roses that we're gonna eat, the strawberries, we planted those. This is low bush cranberry. This will get the beautiful cranberries on them. They like to live around the stumps of trees. I've made cranberry sauce, cranberry juice, all sorts of stuff out of these low bush cranberries, and they are spread throughout the forest as well. So just in this little chunk of ground, we will have a lot of food. What is life like when you have no care? It is now Sunday, and before I could even get outside, Aaron is already out here moving stuff around. So hang on, I'll tell you what's going on. Okay, most of my viewers have been here a long time, and if you're new, and maybe like a gardening episode or something caught your interest, we built this woodshed last summer. Our house, we started building it in 2021. The kids and I moved here July of 2021, and we built the chicken coop, which is like the chicken house basically, and this woodshed. This is more of the dirt. The garden is off behind it. The someday greenhouse will go back there as well. And then yesterday, I got told someone's taken out a bunch of raspberries. They're gonna bring them to us, and we have two places that we want the raspberries to go. So we're gonna do some raspberries along the woodshed here, and then some in another spot. But that's what Aaron is getting kind of built out, is a little garden bed for the raspberries. We are just tackling a ton of cleanup on this day, and I am trying to save the compost, and I decide to put it in buckets so that I have it at the end of gardening season so that I can top all of the beds with it. The compost is on this tarp, and I want the tarp gone from my yard. That doesn't quite happen by the end of this video, but because the compost was so expensive and it is so necessary at the end of the season as well, I just don't want to dump it anywhere. I don't want to lose any of it. And so I just decided to fill all of these buckets that I have with compost. So I'm gonna plant these elderberries here. They need to be between 6 and 10 feet apart. So they're somewhere in between that. They're very short rooted, and then they come along and they'll pop up more elderberry bushes. And then as time goes on and we continue to just kind of clean the edge up, but leaving the natural forest, the elderberries will be able to spread out that way and will increase the area that they can spread out in the future. So hopefully, because the chickens have knocked them over and pecked them and they've been in the pots too long, hopefully it's not too late and we will be able to save them. When planting an elderberry bush, it says don't use any fertilizers the first year, just lots of water. So we're going to dig a little hole. I am going to put some compost in the hole just so that they have a good food source that isn't an additional kind of fertilizer or something like that. They like a lot of water. Good thing it rains a ton here, and so they're going to get plenty of water. If not, the front of the house is right there and I am able to drag water if they're not getting enough. But let's plant these elderberry bushes. Here's some good sign. This is new shoots off of the bush. We're just gonna put in some compost and allow that to happen. However, they are already sending out shoots, which is really good because you can trim off the old, but all of the new shoots is actually what we're looking for to fill in this space. I have been working on dealing with the rest of this compost pile. Compost is so expensive here, and we have some left, and I wanted to reserve it as kind of a topping for each one of the beds in the garden. It's a bad idea from everything that I've learned to just leave soil without something growing in it. And so I have filled these buckets with the compost. I have some flowers that if they don't get planted, they're going to die. They're getting so long and leggy. And marigolds are so resilient, I have found out. All of these I've grown from seed, and they just turn huge so quickly. So they will keep the soil, and with their major root system, what they will be doing is feeding the compost, taking from the compost, giving back, and then even if a marigold seeded and then we put that in there and that grows in the garden, not a big deal at all. So just want something growing. Wasn't the intention, but I think this is a good way to save the compost in these pots, grow something, and be feeding the compost all at the same time. All right, I'm exhausted. I'm not gonna lie. It is 6 o'clock and I promised a little garden tour, and I wanna see it. I wanna see it a couple weeks from now. Where were we at? Everything that we got done this weekend is supposed to dump rain tomorrow and the next day. And then hopefully the following day after that, I can get out here and replant some seeds. And then we're gonna harvest some lettuce for dinner tonight and the radishes. So I'm super excited. But I'm gonna show you what we got done and quick walk around. Caleb's handing me the cover crop. Just so you know, I'm gonna plant a cover crop everywhere that we tilled and chopped everything down. So let's take a look at the garden. I'll just start you right here with the tomatoes and peppers. Believe it or not, they're coming alive. I thought it wasn't gonna happen. And they are getting big and healthy. We even have a tiny little pepper starting there. So are the plants as big as I would like to see? No. I have a lot of grass just literally in the last couple of days that has gotten a little out of control here in this raised bed area. However, I'm gonna come in, get all that pulled this week. It should be fine. But the fact that the tomatoes are even looking like this is shocking. This end down here is all of my potatoes. The Will They Grow beds, and they are massive. So I probably voiceovered or said what I did with the straw is continue to build up the edges of these beds. We just don't want the potatoes coming out of the beds or not having enough of a wall to protect them. But we're starting to flower. The stalks are thick and beautiful. All of this is mismatched. We have no idea what kind of potatoes are in there. They are doing incredible. I did, if you breeze real quick at these flower pots at the end, I cut a bunch of the catnip. I cut it back for my neighbor, and she already sent me a video of her cat is just devouring it. So this right here are the potatoes that are all the same, and then the rest of that bed is all different. But man, those are huge. So because of these pots that hold my hose, we couldn't get back here. So I'm just gonna come and pull that grass this week when I do the other bed. One of the things we're having to contend with here in Alaska is the amount of sunlight that we get. So instead of our broccoli actually producing large crowns, it has decided to bolt. And I do have a few broccolis. I'm hoping to use something to kind of cover those up. And we just need to get some shade on them. The kale is looking phenomenal. The onions are amazing. Everything is just so much bigger and so much more massive than I thought it would be. And I am surprised at the amount of things that are actually growing. Remember, this is our odd bed. It has just all of the leftover onions and brassicas, and then celery, and then different lettuces. Those are coming in nice. Carrots here, but more than one kind. Sunflowers. Oh, nice. My spinach bolted in this bed. Yeah, that's the sun, the amount of sunshine that we get. But this is the lettuce we're pulling tonight for salad. And then we'll come in and replant that bed. I'm gonna pull some of this lettuce today. And then this one, I gave a bunch of this to my neighbor, is salad greens, and then all of a sudden it came back and it bolted as well. And it was planted a lot later than these. So we'll get that out this week and then replant some lettuce there. Oh, and then these sunflowers are doing amazing. And you see what I mean with the broccoli? The broccoli bolts.
They're just so fast.
Look.
It just runs away so fast.
Broccoli seed. Let's go take a look at how the flower garden ended up. All these planters came from seed, and they are doing amazing.
You have to be closer.
Chickens get out. It wasn't substantial fencing, but it keeps most of them in, especially the meat chickens and so on stay in. And they mutilate these, so I just put new plants in them. We'll see if any of those last. And they destroy the rhubarb, so I am going to pull any rhubarb they've ate on. I added some strawberries and some flowers. And I accomplished this today as well. Thank you so much to each and every one of you that have stuck around all the way to the end with our family, as we really did work so very hard for the 2 sunny days that we've had in the last over 14 plus days to clean this garden up, start working on the yard again. We are going to get back at it. In the meantime, we'll have several other videos coming up. Let's get into the kitchen and do some other things around the homestead. We look forward to spending our time with you. I hope that if you haven't yet, that you would go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you'll ring the bell, you'll get notification. Thumbs up and comments do help our channel to grow. We as a family like spending our time with each and every one of you as we try and live this Alaskan dream to the best of our ability. So we try and build all that is before us, whether the weather allows for it or the things that pop up along the way, and we truly enjoy sharing it with each and every one of you. Thank you for being here with us today. We look forward to seeing you in the next video. I didn't realize until I had already edited this video and done the closeout and all of that, that this last clip, this time-lapse video, was such a perfect example of what our life is kind of like around here. The girls were in the garden, they were messing with chickens and playing, and then they helped me harvest the lettuce and the different things for dinner, and then I was putting out the cover crop, and Caleb came and helped me water in the cover crop a little bit, and Aaron is there and a part of everything that we do, and the dogs are running around, and it just, for me, I had to leave it in because it was the perfect example of what life is like on our homestead. If that interests you, make sure you're tagging along.